It's going to be another one of those stories where I talk about the Republicans that pull their little constitutions out of their pockets and act like we are here for the constitutional republic. Oh, America, I'm a patriot, when in fact they are nothing but fake-triots. And right now, there is all kinds of consternation surrounding the Supreme Court of the United States of America ruling against Donald Trump, saying no, you cannot just, without due process, ship immigrants off using the Aliens Enemies Act from 1798. Not a thing you can do. One ruling. They're not saying Donald Trump can't deport anyone. They're not saying he can't do it in a radical, hateful, harmful, human rights abusing way. That's not what the Supreme Court said. They just said certain instances using the justification you're using and the manner with which you're doing it, not providing due process, isn't the way it's going to work. And there are conservatives out there who are right now advocating for dissolving the United States Supreme Court, getting rid of it altogether. A court that is outlined by the founding fathers, these demigods that Republicans love so much, a word that crossed the lips of every founder needs to be canonized as though it's in the Bible, unless they rule against Donald Trump. Unless in a 7-2 ruling, they rule against Donald Trump. The only people who ruled in favor of Donald Trump doing whatever he wants in this particular case, in this narrow ruling, were Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas, the only ones. Everybody else, all the other radicals, said, nope, you need to offer due process. Jesse Kelly, let's enter Jesse Kelly into the conversation here. Here is a tweet from him advocating for the dissolution, for the evaporation of the United States Supreme Court. This is a guy, I don't know much about him, but I just Googled him. I know he's a loudmouth dipshit, much like me, except he's not right about things like I am. He's a guy who swore to uphold the Constitution, to support and defend this. He was in the Marine Corps. He's a fellow Marine, talking about dissolving the Supreme Court. That's because this oath to this document does not matter to him. It's loyalty to the dear leader that is paramount. This is what he tweeted yesterday, the 19th. Ignore the Supreme Court. Arrest anyone who tries to enforce this. Dissolve the Supreme Court entirely if they push. You can deport foreigners or you don't have a country anymore. There are no good choices now. Seems to me, Jesse Kelly, that if you dissolve the Supreme Court and you ignore the Constitution, that's when we don't have a country anymore. When you allow Donald Trump to act as though he is a king, that he is some birthright sovereign that we must be subject to, that's when we don't have a country anymore, you fucking coward. You betrayer of your oath to the Constitution of the United States. You physical weakling, you moral weakling, you ethical weakling. He also tweeted this: Donald Trump is the last thing before we get a dictator. I wonder if he knows this. Not a left-wing dictator either. The right will demand a dictator if Trump is not allowed to implement the will of the voters, and they will get one. A terrible place to be as a country. So unless Donald Trump is allowed to act dictatorially, ignoring the Supreme Court, ignoring the separation of powers outlined in the Constitution of the United States, ignoring a co-equal branch of government, unless Donald Trump is allowed to run roughshod of the Constitution, we don't have a country anymore. We'll be a dictatorship unless Donald Trump gets to act like a dictator. Am I getting the gist of it? Jesse Kelly? This is the path they are leading us down. And let me tell you, this should be a warning sign for Democrats who have pushed back against the notion of packing the Supreme Court. I'm one of those Democrats that have been advocating for a 21-member Supreme Court. Remember, again, the Constitution that so many people don't know anything about, including or mostly conservatives, the ones who bang on the most about this document, that the courts, the Congress has the power to organize the courts. This is why when Democrats get back into power, this should be the first order of business, because if they don't, the Republicans are going to do it for them. People like Jesse Kelly, who have enormous outsized influence over Donald Trump and what he thinks, and that's why he's doing this. What do you think? Tell me where I'm wrong. I would love an argument to be made that could convince me otherwise. You could do it in the comments. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow this into an operation that is too big to be messed with by the powers that be. And it's with your help that I'm going to be able to do that. I would appreciate that very much. If you want to help support this work, help me produce these videos on a daily basis, you can do that on a monthly basis for $2 a month. Click the join button below, become a channel member right here on YouTube. You can also go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Both those are great ways to help support this work. Another way is to go check out Dollemore.com. We've got merch and stickers and books, all kinds of stuff. We just published a children's book, and I'll put a little post-roll ad at the end for you to learn a bit about that. That would be a great way to support the channel. I would appreciate it very much. Anyway, I love and appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another. Many of you are aware that my dear friend and brother of choice, not of blood, Brett McAfee, suffered a near-fatal medical emergency last summer while our families were on vacation in Scotland. I appreciate to no end the outpouring of support for Brett that you all gave. And I'm also very happy to report that he is safe and healing and working that long path of recovery. What I've probably not told you about Brett is that beyond being an excellent friend, he's also a talented writer. We have been the best of friends since we were kids, and I have been continually inspired by his creativity and by the truly singular take that he has on life. Over 2 decades ago, he wrote a poem called The Grateful Child. It's an acknowledgement of all the simple strengths that we tend to overlook. Written from the perspective of a young person, multiple grateful children express gratitude to their parents for the elements that make them who they are. The accounting of these everyday gifts inspires a clear reminder that we should not take anything for granted. I've shared Brett's remarkable poem with numerous people over the years, and a reoccurring response is that this should be a book. Well, we finally decided to listen to those people. The Grateful Child is not only a children's book for adults in your life, it's also an adult's book for children in your life. Everyone will appreciate its straightforward yet elegant celebration of life's little endowments. Click the link below to pre-order now, or simply scan this QR code and order your copy or copies today. But this being an illustrated book, we could not survive on the words alone. To pair with Brett's touching words, we searched all over for an illustrator who could bring the Grateful Child to visual life. We landed on somebody right here in the community from this show. Leah Farshid is an internationally acclaimed illustrator who, like you, is also an audience member. The moment we saw the first images that Leah drew to accompany Brett's text, we knew we had a perfect combination. It brings me tremendous joy to share my best friend's beautiful poem and Leah's spectacular images with the world. Everyone can benefit from The Grateful Child, just as I benefit from Brett's lifelong friendship. Share this beautiful book with your children. Share it with your parents or other relatives. The Grateful Child is an easy and exceptional way to show appreciation for someone in your life, young or old. Support someone you love and support this channel by giving The Grateful Child. Click the link below to pre-order now, or simply scan this QR code. I am pretty sure your children need a copy. And your mom, your nieces, and your nephews, your Grandpa Charlie too. Don't forget Grandpa Charlie. I think he'd love this. Make The Grateful Child a part of your life. It has been such an excellent part of mine.